Hey everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to another one of my shows. With me today is Mayor Camardelle of Grand Isle, Louisiana. Mayor, thank you so much for being on today.
William, yes.
I appreciate your time, but I do have a question for you. The people back on the other side of Jefferson Parish and around the states asking me a question. Is Grand Isle open for business?
Oh, absolutely, yes. So we had a big, really last 3 weekends. The island, really Memorial Weekend, our beach was full. We had golf courts, like 2,000 of them. You know, people renting camps and getting out the motels, a few motels that we have, and they filled up the beach. And it just brought tears to my eyes because they want to come, but they want to come back to the island.
Yeah.
And my beach is clean. I make sure it's always my town employees. We stay on top of that, and working with the parish and the federal government. I mean, we really come together. It's going to be another August 29th right around the corner, but it's going to be a year.
Yeah, that's right.
So the bottom line, William, is yes, people been coming, enjoying, and in fact, we asked a question this morning. Is we had ever since Memorial Weekend, we always got something big between the marinas and between us having the beach bash and having the Blue Boot rodeo. Is the place is packed. I mean, looking at off the stage this past weekend, people come from all over. They love Grand Isle.
Yeah, exactly. Grand. I mean, well, it's not only a unique place. I mean, the people that it attracts are people that care about our state. They love the beach.
Yeah.
They care about our community. But one thing when you talk about how clean it is, I've noticed every time I've talked to you, you're either out there on the beach with your crews.
Absolutely.
You're in the streets with your crews. You're not somebody.
You see my shoes when I'm in.
Yeah, you're casual.
Because I'm all over the place.
Because you don't come to the office and sit in an office.
No.
You actually get out there in the community and do some work.
And that's what I told my people. You like me and working with the council. Being elected since '89, the councilman and mayor in '97. I've been through many disasters and stuff like that. But I'm with my guys outside, and I'm whatever it takes. Then we used to work with no money.
Yeah.
And I signed a bunch of stuff. Through hurricanes, I just ordered stuff couple of nights before the storm. Ordering barges to come in for water, whatever it takes.
Right.
We're used to that. But in the meantime, the bottom line is we really work hard so we get ready we want our people to come back.
Something you said that I don't hear many elected officials say. You're working without a lot of money.
Right.
So Grand Isle is a pretty inexpensive place to live, and that's reflected in the fact that you say not a lot of money. So you don't expect the people to have to come up with the money. You actually find ways to give back to the community through hard work and finding people to help, right?
And I learned that when I was a young boy. My grandfather both sides, they were fishermen on my mother's side, my dad, and we worked hard. My dad came in 1947, and my mother, they got married in 1950. So I remember for Betsy, we were wiped out, and just things like that. Listen to my dad. We walked from Port Fourchon, got a cypress log, and we walked from Port Fourchon. I was 9 years old, and my brother was like 11 years old, and we walked all the way to Chenier, and I'll never forget that. It was my mom, my dad, and my mama's brother, and we walked, and we stopped at the old cemetery in Chenier. The 1893 storm hit, and I can remember my mom, crying. We couldn't figure out why. So Mama was crying because she seen the restaurant was gone. She seen her restaurant was gone, and she seen the home was gone. And we told Mama not to cry. She said, "Well, boys, I'm going to feed y'all." So she took the old brown paper bag, and she opened, there was 4 cans of Vienna sausage. And she took a little piece of bread and made it for us, and we started eating. And I'll never forget that. My dad went by the tomb and took the top off. And we walked as we come down to our street where we live at till today. It was wiped out, and my dad stood up on a foundation of the restaurant, and it was like the donut shop with the stools, and that was at 65 for Betsy. And he looked at us, he said, "I have y'all, we have nothing left." And he said, "It's material things, we're going to rebuild it." And then, cut the story short, we all piled up in one home, maybe 4 families. And I remember it was getting dark, and we had candles, and we lived, and we colored on the floor, the kids, and Mom and I was trying to cook the best way they can. There was no electricity, there was no water, and there was no gas. So as the days went by, I remember my daddy saying, I seen them outside building like the cowboys. They had a chain with little pipes, and they had a cast iron pot, and he told us to go get some wood. and all the little boys and all of us together. I'm talking about 4 families in a little bitty house, and we went and get wood and we put it in the pot. And my dad went and got everybody out the house, and I'll never forget that as long as I live. He said, "We wiped out." He said, "Let me tell you." He said, "Remember this candle that I took outside? It makes a light. We see each other. It means you don't need no electricity.
Oh, wow.
The same candle can make a fire underneath the cast iron pot.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need gas." But he took a bottle of water. He said, "Remember, you can't live without water." So we know what it is. We were raised.
Right.
So then, the sheriff at the time, Jefferson Parish at the time, the elected officials started bringing water in and brought the National Guard in. So
What year is this again?
that was in '65 when Betsy.
Yeah.
So nothing's changed, meaning that something happened. So we had water from Fuchs Parish at the time, and like I said, it was a bad storm, Betsy. So everything was broken. But my dad always said, "Remember, David, if you ever get elected, the first thing you do is bring water back." Well, the first time since I've ever been elected, being honest with you, this storm destroyed my water line from Lafitte to Grand Isle, which is 31 miles, plastic pipe, 16-inch, buried about 8 foot of water. But we knew that.
Wait, so your water line comes from Lafitte?
Yes.
Okay.
I built the water line in 2000.
All right.
And it was a lot of work working with Senator Yulo and way back with Aaron Broussard and all. And I made it happen. We worked it hard. We cut the ribbon. Andy Valance was there, Harry Lee, all of us, and we cut the ribbon and we built 2 million gallon tanks and we filled it up. It worked great. And I told the senator, I just can't afford it no more going through the Fuchs Parish. I said, I want to go back to my mother's umbilical cord, meaning the parish.
Yeah, people don't realize there's a couple things that you've talked about here that I want to point out. One, your dad was the mayor too, right?
No, my dad was just a councilman.
Was a councilman.
Incorporated the town.
Okay, so he cared about this community as much as you do, but this community, Grand Isle, from what I understand, is the oldest community in Jefferson Parish.
Exactly.
And a lot of people don't realize that Grand Isle is in Jefferson Parish.
Exactly. And like I said, I found fathers at the time, working. And listen, I've been great with Jefferson Parish all these years, working with all elected officials since really 1989.
Right.
But I mean, to bring that water line and come back and then lose it, and it was like 60, 70 days. But in the meantime, we ordered 3 barges of water coming out of Texas, fill them up in Morgan City. The night of the storm, we had a standby. Now, you remember the storm was supposed to hit Morgan City.
Exactly.
So the barges were tied up. So we brought them to Grand Isle probably a couple of weeks later because everything was closed.
Right.
Coastal. And I knew that in the back of my mind, I had that. So we went through everything, barged it in, but I slept on my porch many nights, and I lived where with disaster hit. 25 homes in that area got wiped out, and just a few of my families, which one of them I was fortunate, had damage to my roof, and slept on the porch many nights and taking 3 bottles of water, taking a bath.
After Ida.
Yes, and living and just sitting on the porch with my son and just looking at, there was no animals, nothing, like a bomb went off. And then I was offered to go stay in boats and stuff. I said, no, I want to live like my people. That's what we do.
Yeah.
But the hardest thing out of all this is really that in the back of my mind is, my daddy always told me don't forget to bring water, and I couldn't do it, and I was trying. Talking with the priest, I went to the priest, I told the priest, man, it's tough. And they had 6 foot of sand over LA1. It was bad,
I came down here a few weeks after the storm, and I remember how bad the sand was. What's remarkable to me though is when you come on the island after Ida, there were a lot of homes that didn't look like they had been touched. It looked like there was no hurricane.
Right.
They looked just as colorful with the roof and no damage at all.
And that's something that good, in 1965 with Betsy hit. In fact, I still see the resolutions the council had passed. They came in, FEMA came in and raised them up 8 foot high, which my dad built his house. He was 37 years old, and he built it 8 foot high. Then Hurricane Andrew came in from Florida, and then FEMA came back and said, well, look, you got to go 12 foot high. 10 foot high. And then all of a sudden, Katrina came and went at 12 foot high.
Yeah.
So God knows what's going to happen next. But the water was 12 feet where I live at, in different parts of the island, as you come to the eastern part of the island. And the reason, getting back to what you were talking about, is the FEMA codes got stronger and asking, you get a building permit.
Right.
And I used to tell a lady, a young couple coming here, they love Grand Island. David, I want a chandelier. I said, Well, you really got to keep that money for that, but you're still going to get it.
Yeah, right.
I said, but we go with better design. So after the storm, there's one thing we noticed that with the billy codes and the straps and stuff that goes through all that, people say that, you know what, it was worth not, or anything that was 8 foot, especially in our area over there that was built after Betsy was wiped out.
So not only is Green Isle coming back, it's going to come back even stronger.
Exactly.
So people can feel confident about, you know,
Yeah.
either rebuilding down here or coming and building down here, being a part of this community, because they're not ignoring what's happened in the past. They're saying, hey, storms are getting stronger, so we got to build up now. We got to build a little bit stronger. I want to talk about the house that you lost, your family lost, when your that father stood on the slab. That was here on Grand Isle?
That was, yeah, when you cross the bridge, right beside the bridge when you're coming in.
So where did you all live during the time when your father was rebuilding from Betsy?
Well, FEMA came in and they brought us a big trailer. It was a new moon trailer. I remember that. They brought it for everybody. And,
This is back in the 60s they did this?
yes, big trailers. And we stayed there and FEMA checked on us and came back. And I remember we built a house, my dad and all. And let me backtrack too when you talk about the homes. There was a carpenter. My mom and dad was putting Becky Cypress in the living room.
Yeah.
That was the whole 2 weeks. They were remodeling their home.
Right.
And Betsy was in the Gulf, in the Caribbean. And I remember the carpenter came in, Mr. Clay was wrong, I'll never forget that. He said, man, I'm gonna leave my tools. And the sun was shining. And he said, I'm gonna leave my tools. If it takes the mom's home and all that, I'm like, I'm not too far. So it's gonna take mine too. And we put the little boys, me and my brother put all his tools, and my dad and mom, we put our clothes, and we evacuated to Westwego, Louisiana, where my dad was from. And I remember Nash Robert, black and white television, said that he had his crayon, I'll never forget that. And he came and said, it's going to be Nash Robert. And it was all in a table like that, all kids, and watching the black at my grandma's house in Avenue A in Westwego. And they had a bunch of families, you know, it was all of us. And we saved it. All of a sudden, the roof comes off, and Betsy hit in Westwego too, you know.
Oh, wow, yeah.
We running for another house, and they all put us in savings there. But I'll never forget that. He was saying that, you know, with his little black crayon, that it's going to be a bad hurricane, you know, it's going to hit us, and all of a sudden. So in the meantime, it's just stories like that you come back to nothing. And today, my dad's been dead probably 25 years, and he always said, you're probably going to go through 3 major disasters before you're 65. And he said that it's probably going to get worse, David, but just keep on doing the right thing and try to make things stronger, you know.
So he told you that 25 years ago when he died,
Yeah,
you said?
Yeah. It's
So,
like,
so he said your dad predicted 3 major storms.
yes.
So how many have you been through?
Well, I've been through quite a few of them.
Let's hope it's been 3 because we don't want to have it.
No, yeah, it is. I've been through many disasters, you know, the oil spill and stuff like that. But you know, it's just, you know, and I told my people, you know, don't leave me. For Katrina, when it was about a foot of the bridge, I said, just give us a chance. And they wanted to cross the bridge, and we let them go check their place, but at dark they had to get out. And I said, I promise you, we're gonna help you. We're gonna build you back, you know. And you know, going through all the hurricanes and dealing with my uncles for Katrina, had to bring my little Cajun houseboat back. And we all lived in it for 70, 80 days. I slept on a floor full of mud. National Guard would meet with me, and we decide the fire truck from Golden Head would put water in the barge, and then we come give a little water. You know, that's why our command post for a while.
Yeah.
But I lost all but one of my uncles, you know, the rest of them. But they were discouraged and they wanted to give up, and they lost everything. And I said, man, you can't. We're going to rebuild.
Yeah.
You know, I said, don't worry about nothing. You got your grandkids. So 2 of my uncles wanted to give up, and I told them, I said, so I had to get a picture of their grandkids and put it by their bunks in the houseboat. Now, this is a Cajun houseboat. I want the people to realize that this is a Cajun
You're a
houseboat.
Cajun houseboat,
Like
huh?
my 2 uncles were raised by the Sound,
Right,
my dad. And it just good memories and keep them positive, you know. And they were so upset. And I said, I tell you what you're gonna do. I said, one of my uncles said, you put a apron on, you start cooking. If it's Spam, Vienna sausages, potted meat, throw rice in it, make it hot. I said, you put an apron on, you start cleaning the boat, and you start washing our clothes in the salt water. And look, they did it all. I kept them positive, and the family kept on checking on me. I said, I got it.
And this is after Ida.
No, that was after
This is
Katrina.
after Katrina.
Yeah. So then in the meantime, they built their homes, and I lost 2 of them. And I got the last one, the youngest brother out of all of them. And today he's 90 years old, and he told me, he said, you know, David, I'm not going nowhere. You know, he said, you know, I was raised here. I came here when I was a little boy, and he said, I just want to let you know I'm your last uncle, but everything, you know, you told us, you done. And I do that for anybody.
Yeah.
You know? And it was about I hate it right now. What's discouraging is we got maybe 50% of our people. I had an employee come up to me yesterday that told me he was moving to Thibodeau. You know, he said he's can't afford the insurance, and that's one of the big things
Right.
that we fight in Washington. That you know, and you know, I just want the people to know out there that you know, you see me on television. You see me all the time looking at the rocks, and I'm a rock man. You know, I can show you on the beach that it's held.
Yeah.
And you know, you see me on television. I'm not a sandman. You work with Mother Nature. And I'm a Cajun engineer.
Right.
I can tell you.
A Cajun engineer, I like
The
that.
common sense, walking with my grandpa on the beach, and you know, walking with my dad, and you know, going with a seine like Jesus done. We went with a seine, catch trout.
Right.
You know, and that was the old time ways. And working in the coal, working the shrimping and crabbing, we did it all.
Right.
And then your tourism. You got your commercial fishermen. You got your sport fishermen. You got tourists coming in. You got your oil field. There's no crime here. And one of the guys interviewed me a couple of weeks ago. He says, "Why? Why you don't move off the solid?" I said, "Well, why should I? None of us should do this."
Right.
I said, "Listen, Puerto Rico, Hawaii, they're surrounded by waters." And I said, "You know, everybody loves the beaches."
Right.
And in the minute the gas went up, I tell my son and my daughter and my wife, I tell them all, I said, "This is going to be a great summer, even though we're not ready." "Why's that?" I said, "I was a little boy stacking groceries in the grocery store with my grandpa. And he used to call me and say, 'T. Dave, listen to this. A young man got a check for $100 in those days. He got 3 kids. He can't go to Mississippi. He can't go to Texas. He's got to come on that beach." He said, "They're going to come. He's got to come with his family. The minute the gas goes up, in those days it might have been 79 cents.
Right.
It went up a penny."
Right.
So I told that story a few weeks ago, and I said, it's going to be one of the best summers. And some of the council said, "I think we could do it." And I told them that story. And until today, I believed it. And then, 4 weeks ago, you probably see it on Facebook, the people probably seen that.
Yeah.
They were throwing the cast net right here behind the beach and catching shrimp, 30, 40 pounds of shrimp.
Wow.
Well, they cast that on the beach. I'm born and raised there. I've never seen that type of shrimp come that close. I had a 50-foot shrimp boat. I still got a skiff. It's still in the blood.
You know why? It's because the shrimp can't afford to travel with those gas
Exactly.
prices, so they're staying right here.
But and then to catch crabs, you know, you take a 2-piece of pipe with a cotton line, you put some chicken necks. And I got some people my age that's bringing their grandkids and saying, and great grandkids and saying, "I did this when I was a young boy." And I'm with my grandkids and great kids, and then nothing else. When you see that little kid pick up that crab and scream and holler and put it in the bush,
He's all
you
excited.
can't do that in Destin. You
No.
can't do it in Mississippi. So it's amazing. We just the last few weekends, the Memorial Weekend, these people come up to me and said, "We love your beach." In fact, we had people from New Iberia that came. They said they were going to Destin. I found a place. They rented it.
Mhm.
They called my wife last night. They coming next weekend for the rodeo. They want to book it
I
2
love
weekends
it.
in a row. And the good thing about
Wait,
it,
what weekends? What weekend is the rodeo? What are the dates?
that's going to be next weekend, the 26th, whatever it is. The 28th.
August 26th and
No, July. This week.
July 26th,
27, 28.
28th is Harper Rodeo.
Yeah, next weekend. Yes.
But yeah, I want to. I'm interrupting you a little bit on your thought process, but I want to go back a little bit. You know, when you talk about rebuilding here and how hard and how you made a commitment after Katrina, and I'm sure you made that same commitment after the Gulf oil spill.
Yes.
You made a commitment to this community that you would work hard to rebuild,
Yeah.
and you did. And you made this commitment. Oh, now granted, you had to make it a couple times with these people because we've had disaster to disaster.
Yeah.
But you've proven not only that you would work your butt off to rebuild, you'd be out there in the community like we talked about earlier.
Yes, yeah.
You know, in the community working with them to rebuild. But you've committed, you know, to being able to build back stronger.
And if I could convince the federal government, and listen, my congressman through the years, way back with Bob Livingston and all
Mhm.
that, Billy Tarzan, Steve Scalise, and Kennedy and Cassidy, and Gary Graves. I mean, even Troy Carter, he came after the storm. He's a senator, a congressman from
Congressman,
Milwaukee.
yeah.
But I knew Troy when he was a senator. He fell in love. He came, he said, "David, how you going to repair this?" I said, "You're the man that's going to be one of them to go help." So what I'm saying, we have friends.
And he
from all-
has.
Yeah, and when I became mayor of Louisiana in 2015, in fact, there's a convention coming up, you know, and it's during the rodeo, and I'm going to slip in one day because, you know, the guys that was under me, they're finally climbing up to be president. And I told when I ran for president up there, for all 306 mayors, I said, I'm from a small community. And I traveled all over Louisiana, and I know.
Yeah.
And the big boys, the big towns, they take care of themselves. They're good people.
Yeah.
The mayors and the council. But I was more concerned about the little towns. And right now I'm on the front line. No matter where you look in Louisiana,
Right.
I'm on the front line. My island's 8 miles long. You can see the picture behind me.
Yeah.
And
We got the picture right up here for the island, right?
and what I'm saying, you see this, and what's happening is, I just told him in the Cajun Dome, just at that time, I said, I know what it is to fight battles, and I know what you need, but we're like the soldier in Iraq. My little town is first line of defense. If this island goes, and I want the people to hear this, if this island goes, that 12 to 15, 7 feet of water that came over us in this area, without this island, you can picture 5 to 6 feet of water in New Orleans, St. Charles Parish, it's coming.
Yeah.
So we're the Barry Island. So if the people don't know why they live here, I gotta be straight up with them. It's because there's no crime. You wake up in the morning, you put the television, there's shootings all over. I don't have that over here.
All over around us,
That's
not
right.
here.
Right. So what I'm saying is, there's nothing else in the world to bring a young family and people that's retired. You ain't got to go to Florida. All you got to do is come and you go on the beach with a fishing line.
Yeah.
In the older days, you remember, it was the Polaroid camera. It take 2 months to see that picture.
Right.
Now it's 2
Now,
seconds.
yeah, 2 seconds, you got a
So
phone.
I met some people from Indiana, and it's amazing that the people come from up north and retire.
Mm-hmm.
And they caught that fellow, that man, I'll never forget that, he caught a drumfish. He was so excited, from Indiana. And his wife was reading the book in the camper, and he was hollering and knocking on the camper and saying, honey, look at this fish I just caught in the Gulf of Mexico. This is unreal. And he was like a young boy in Walmart in the toy section, so excited. And guess what? They bought camps. The friends got summer homes here.
Yeah.
And they give all to they couldn't take the cold no more. You know, they said we give everything to our kids. We're retired. And
I mean, and you think about it, not only do you have the beach, but
Yeah.
you go through
yeah,
Cajun country, you go through fisherman country, shrimper country.
yeah,
You know, you get the freshest seafood here.
Yeah.
You don't get the beach, you get fresh seafood, but you get that warm Louisiana atmosphere here.
and there's that's the way Cajuns are, and you know that. It's
Right.
just that we welcome you in your house. Come on, there's no
Well,
stranger. You know, come on in. We
and-
come
yeah.
in. That's the first thing we do.
And what I think is also important, you know, is that something you said earlier, that when you encourage people to build here and stay here and come back here, and you give them that sense of security, because you're rolling your sleeves up and getting dirty yourself. The point that I'd like to make, that I picked up from you, is that if not you, if not the people who live here,
Right.
who would live here?
Yeah.
So if these people here didn't have their confidence in you,
Yeah.
and you basically, or they basically surrendered this island,
Right.
who would move here?
Exactly. In other words, I'm not.
So if we don't, if people here don't
Well,
stay,
you can see that.
oh yeah, I love this. I love this
Yeah,
picture.
As long as you don't.
As long as there is one grain of sand,
Yep.
we are going to plant the American flag. We are not going anywhere. Mayor Camardelle, I love that.
Yes.
And you auctioned this off. You had an event this past weekend.
Yes, and waiting on the guy, you just come pick it up, and they were auction big time on it, you know, and I signed it right before the deal, you know.
I like that. You signed it, and
Yeah.
you got your signature right there.
Right, and that's the
You know?
that's the new bridge that we built for 55 million that you cross. Come on out.
Right.
So, like I said, the beach, this is part of the island. This is the whole island.
Yeah.
In the meantime, we're just gonna keep that American flag,
I love that. I love that the whole.
and that's the Grand Isle flag. You see.
Yeah, I like that.
Design. So, we want the people to understand that, you know, it's not. The bottom line is, it's just to see the families, to come in, and you come with your family, and you walk on the beach. I met with some people yesterday. They built on the opposite side of the beach, and I met with the father and the son, and I'm good friends with the father. And the son told me, he said, Mr. David, my wife wanted to go to Destin. He said, but when we built our home, and it was 16 feet high, and he just built it 2 weeks finished before I did.
Wow.
Didn't lose nothing because of the codes.
Yeah.
He told me yesterday, he said, we sat there, and he said, we're not going nowhere. Because when I brought my grandkids this past weekend, and we call it a palon. Palon
Right.
means it's just the 2 pipes with the chicken necks tied to the
Yeah.
string. And when I see my grandson, the water screaming and just had that crab in there, it was amazing. And I looked, I see the platforms offshore, the water was clear, clean. And he said, your beach is awesome. And he says, we love it. My wife right now, coming every week, she does, and I'm not saying nothing bad about Destin, that's not what I'm saying.
No, it's just.
But to see a child and then throw a cast net and catch a shrimp, and then you see the man our age with the straw hat, throwing
Right.
catches, speckled trout. And then you see the white that don't want to fish, just sitting in the umbrellas, and just, you know, then what really turns me on is when you see an elderly couple in the evening to see the sunset, and just coming through and watching it in the Gulf, and coming from, you know, just as the sun comes over that evening, it's like, and you see them riding the golf court and they're relaxed, and they say, we're coming back. That's things that I see that, you know, and said, David, hurricane season right now, what's going on? I said, I'm not finished. I got a lot of work to do with a lot of prayers, and hopefully they dodge everybody.
Right.
So, in my experience in working with all the councils, it's not just me, the council,
exactly.
working with the parish, working with the state, you know, the governor's been good to me, every one of the governors, and all my representatives and senators, you know, the connections that we have is they know when I'm coming with my team, that there's no bull, straight up, you know, like the Corps.
Yeah.
You know, they got 122 million, you know, and when I met with President Biden when he came after the storm in Galiana, he looked at all of us, the Mayor Lafitte, myself, and Archie Chasson, the parish president, Chad, and Gordy Dove, and we just sit, and the president asked what we needed. And I straight up, when it was my turn, I said, all I want is $50 million to protect this island.
I love that.
And he said, believe it or not, President Biden said, in Delaware, David, where I'm from, I believe in rocks. I said, well, sir, I don't need $150 million, the Corps, to do this. You give me $50 million, I could probably put 30 more of them segments. And right behind you can see where the rocks were.
Yeah.
So you'll never see me on a hurricane on the eastern side of the island. It's always on the western side. So finally, they got 122 million, and they only put 3 segments, which I heard finished last past week.
Right.
But
We had some progress already.
yeah, but it's in that corner, which is okay, but I wanted to put some more. So whenever I put the rocks, the President Levy Board, I put the rocks on the north side. And that's to protect it when the storm goes to the east.
Right.
So when you came over the bridge, you saw rocks on this side.
Exactly, yeah.
I'm President Levy Board, that was in 92. The old governor, I call him the old governor.
The old governor, huh?
He put me on the levy board with Senator Yulo, and there was 3 board members, and we still 3 board members. But we finally put navigator lights where we put the rocks. So, being honest with you, if the government would give us the money, the levy board in Grand Isle, working with the parish and the state, I'd be finished with the rocks.
Well, not only that, you could probably not only be finished, but you could probably do it as good, if not better, and probably cheaper
Yes.
than the federal government.
$122 million, we could put the umbrellas and all for y'all on the beaches. So, but
Everybody,
and I want you
instead of a chicken in every pot, there'll be a golf cart in every driveway.
Yeah. And then, you know, I made 24, you know, the council, myself, we worked hard, and we made 24 pats. Went over the levee, and we just did it to get the golf to bring business back.
But you know,
And you got to do what you got to do.
Exactly.
You know, I'm not. If I don't make it, we don't make it by. Summer's over, just about. By August, September, Labor Day. This island's a ghost town. We
Yeah.
don't want that. We don't want that. So
You want this to be a year-round thing.
Yeah.
But you know, I thought of something, and I don't want to take credit for this thought because
Yeah.
because in talking to you and listening to you and hearing all these great things about Grand Isle during this interview, I thought about this while we were talking. People supporting Grand Isle,
Unbelievable.
they protect Louisiana.
Exactly.
So you don't so Grand Isle, when you come to Grand Isle, you don't just get a good beach vacation, you don't just get a good sense of community, you don't just get, you know, a safe area, you contribute to a community that that acts as a barrier island and protects all of Louisiana.
Exactly.
So by living here, supporting this
Yeah.
community, telling people of Louisiana, by living here, supporting the community, you come here, you're going to lower your own insurance rates because as long as Grand Isle is here, we're going to protect flooding and storm surges in the rest of Louisiana.
And you know, you brought that up, and one of the things is I'm losing some of my residents because they can't afford it. One lady came up to me and said, I can't afford it. It's $11,000 with a flood, and my house is elevated 15 feet. So that's things like that every day you hear that. And we fight, you know, I don't use the word fight, but we go to lobby. And you know, and I told President Biden that, and it was like, well, we might have a shot. He said, what do you mean? I said, Schumer from New York, he lost 37 people with the same hurricane that wiped me out. The storm continued up north.
That's right. I forgot about that.
And I said, maybe we might get his support this time because they always wonder why, you know, why we keep on living along the coast. And I don't mean it in an ugly way.
Right.
But then when I went to Washington a couple of weeks ago, we met with one of the Congress's staff members. It was from Staten Island, and she's fighting the same thing with the storm that hit her in Staten Island. And the Corps is the same thing. They want to do a study, and I was educating her staff. I didn't get to see her.
Right.
I was just saying, I'd love to meet with her and talk. You know, meet with the mayor from I say maybe 3 months ago. I went to Key West and I called Terry Johnson. I said, I'm coming to see you.
Yeah.
I said, you the fellas wanted to go. And we had good meetings. I showed this map. I brought this map showing you, David, you kind of like Key West. And I said, you the fellas wanted to go. I think maybe with National League of Cities, we all get together maybe
Right.
and try to save our coast. We get all on the coast. We got mayors from North Carolina, South Carolina. In fact, the night of the storm, they all called me, Bay St. Louis, Gulfport. I got a mayor's convention, and I had it 3 years. But in the meantime, it started getting bigger and bigger. And we're just talking about how we get together and convince our congressmen that it's worth living along
Yeah.
the coast.
Not, like I said, not only is it worth living here for the beauty and the seafood we talked about before, you know, but, you know, of course with you it's low crime. We've kind of repeated some of these things, I know. But again, it's protecting our boundaries.
Right.
It's protecting our beauty. That because if we don't protect this, and you don't, and look, if you don't come down here and you don't visit and you don't spend some time down here, money doesn't flow down here. Then it gets ignored, and when it gets ignored, that coast is gonna start moving inland.
And then,
You
we
know.
got like with 23 rodeos, fishing rodeos. And then, we had the Hurricane Hole. He just passed it. This guy fished all over the world. And he's from Lafayette, Louisiana.
Yeah, I saw the hurricane hole. Yeah.
And he came in and he said, I'm living here because 15 minutes from here, my yacht and my boats that I have. And my friends, David, he said, we could throw a hook and we start catching snapper not too far.
Exactly.
So he said, I've been all over the world. I'm coming. And he started building. And then all my business people, the local businesses and stuff like that, we built our businesses back. And like I said, we lost quite a few of them. And the good thing about it is every day we got some homes that's being repaired to rent.
Mm-hmm.
So like the rodeo this week coming, this week, next week coming,
Mm-hmm.
you can get online today and you'll find that the next 2 hours later you find. So we're getting people busting
Yeah.
to get it done because they want to come.
So a few last questions while we wrap up and everything on some things. What does Grand Isle still need? What does Grand Isle still need to get back 100%?
Well, first of all, to be honest with you, I gotta make sure that get our kids back. We got 145 FEMA trails, I call them FEMA trails, the state trails, and I was trying to build some housing, to keep my people to go to work. I'm talking nothing else in the world. And I testified in Washington, I testified in Baton Rouge, and
Right.
Jefferson Parish a few weeks back, and I said, Nelson, in the world that'll make me happy is you got a young man, he has no place. I got him in a trailer. I wanted to build some type of housing, and meaning that it's affordable housing.
Right.
You and your wife might have 700 you can afford. I might better say, whatever the price is different. It goes by income. There's nothing else in the world that I could turn around and put 40 units up. In fact, I got the diagrams right here in the back.
Right.
And meet with the council. We all want to keep our families here and the workers. So you got restaurants, grocery stores, you got fishermen on both sides, commercial and sport fishing, marinas. We all create jobs. But it's to get people to work and get a place to stay. So we're trying to get some type of housing. But in the meantime, went to community development meeting in Jefferson Parish 2 weeks ago and said, Mr. Camardelle, you can't build in a V zone. I said, what do you mean?
Can't build a what?
In a V zone, meaning that we FEMA codes
Okay.
as a flood zone. And I said, well, what about Puerto Rico? What about Hawaii? The Cayman Islands, when there's a storm hit, they don't run off the islands, they come to the United States, they're
Right.
surrounded by water. And she said, I understand that. I said, well, all I want to do is raise up the FEMA codes, the housing on Pollands, and put a young family. Now, something in the world that make me happy is to see that young mom going on them steps, putting them kids in the school bus to bring them right here in the middle street.
Where there's no crime.
No crime, and the church is right next door, the Baptist Church, but right here, it's in the middle of the island, and they go to school. And the father's going to work. And one of the things like that is the government's telling me that they don't think they can do it. But I'm going to fight that. I'm going to bring that up, because if they didn't evacuate from Hawaii or Puerto Rico,
Right.
and I'm not picking on them about
And then the thing is, they can still evacuate.
not only that, but they're elevated.
Right.
You
You've
elevate
elevated-
you get a permit today, you elevate your home, you can build.
Right.
And you retire, or you want to retire and do it, it's fine. But what about the people that live local? I'm telling you, we're gonna do what we gotta do to keep our people here. So that's one of the things that you know, like I told you earlier, I probably lose a couple more employees. They just want to go to Thibodeau, they want to go to farther north because they can't afford the insurance. And I'm elevating, I'm doing everything right. And the people that do everything, that elevates.
And if everybody elevates, the case can be made to the insurance company,
And it
say,
gets
we're all
better.
elevated.
It gets better, you know, and the problem I'm having right now is, you know, like, it's you know, we need to bring our kids back, and we need to bring the families back, and we need to give them some type of housing. And I told the preacher, asked me that day, he said they were worried they're coming to get the state trails. I said, that ain't gonna happen.
Right, yeah.
Nobody, listen to me, nobody's gonna leave this island, I can promise you that. Now, if a hurricane, I'll get them out, or any bad weather, I'll get them out, I'll put them in a building.
Right.
And I know, we know what's going on, the council myself, the chief of police, we watch what's going on, but I'm gonna tell you, nobody gonna leave this island, you know, but when a storm comes, I'll get them out. And you know what? I lived in a new moon in 1966. This is a big trail in those days. Now they got these little matchboxes.
Yeah.
And we know that it's light and the wind can take it.
Right.
So we keep an eye on that. But the bottom line is, why can't we just build some type of housing, elevated, follow the codes?
Right.
And keep our residents here, keep our people here. You know, I got a few lots on the island, and my kids, my daughter just built a house in Lafayette. Told her to pick the lot. She said, Daddy, she's a school teacher. She left, 10 years ago. She said, I can't afford it. When we go to the bank and the insurance, it's just, you know, so it hurts you when you lose your kids, you know. And I said, well, you know, like my son, the same thing. He's living in Thibodeau. And I said, look, I got 2 lots right there in the middle of the island, whatever y'all want to do. But they, you know,
well, I know you're going to keep fighting because if you keep building the you know, the bulkheads and the walls and the rocks and the, you know, like that, and you keep working with everybody to help build the building codes.
Yeah.
We get those insurance rates
and then
lower.
you see that corner up there.
Yeah.
Okay, on the other side of the bridge,
Yeah.
all that land is gone.
Oh, that's gone?
Yes, that's gone. So what we did is, with President, with my guys, we just advertised about 3 weeks ago, and what we did, we came in and we're gonna put rocks. It's about $8.5 million. Because remember, the water came in, Ida came in and pushed the water where all the people live in that area. In fact, I live in that area too. And that 12 to 14 feet of water came right across.
So that whole little point's gone?
Right. There's no
Wow.
protection.
No houses there or anything like that?
Well, you had quite a few of them there. You know, they lost anything that was 8 foot or under was gone. So what I'm saying is, you got some houses that have been there since the '66, like my mom's. It didn't go away, but we built that. That ain't no.
Yeah.
We built that. Cajun built that. But what I'm saying is,
Cajun engineering.
exactly. I built mine in '81, and I never lost nothing for Katrina, just the bottom. But this time I lost some of my roofing. But I got damage inside and all that. But with this here is part of Grand Isle. But what it is, if I put these rocks, and you can see the rocks I put 92.
Yeah.
The little rocks behind there.
Yeah, I see that, right?
Yeah. So now we want to come in. I want the people to realize in that area right there, if I can get some of that done before September. In fact, I'm waiting on a phone call now. There was some funding available, and then when you play with ghost hunt money, it's different funding.
Right.
And you got to play it to get it. So anyway, we put it together, and we just put finished rocks with the Corps of Engineers while they're still studying. But in the meantime, we did it, no studying, just look at it, surveyed it, and we found 45 feet of water, which they didn't believe they had. What it is, the storm came through it, right on the tip of that sand right
Right there, yeah.
No, and this, we're coming out
Right here?
on the left-hand side, keep on.
Oh, there, right there?
Coming in where the water's green.
Okay, I see it, right, yeah.
Yeah, there's 45 feet of water right there that came in. By doing that, it showed the engineers from Seattle, Washington, that was working with us. And I told them, y'all better survey it, and I'll show you the map outside. They found the 45 feet of water. I said, it's only gonna get deeper. It's not gonna hold it, maybe got a little wider, but in the meantime, by this gone, if we don't put no rocks, it's a dead shot. I mean,
Right.
you'd have water coming in every.
And once again, protecting Grand Isle
Exactly.
is protecting Louisiana.
If the federal government would have done it, it'd have been probably 50 million.
And if the federal government puts some more money in here, it's going to help lower insurance rates for not only Grand Isle, but everybody else in Louisiana, which makes the case for Grand Isle and supporting it with our dollars.
Yeah, and I want the people to realize, they're always spending money in Grand Isle. If you do it right, look, the rocks that we put in the 90s, this is right in this area here.
Yeah.
It's still there and it's built up.
Right.
A few rocks that we put, this is an old picture, we put rocks, it's built up. And right here on this point when you get off the bridge.
Right.
I remember right there, Andy Valens, the mayor, said, it's so narrow here that Jose Canseco, the baseball player, can hit a ball from the Gulf to the back bay. That was a little motto, you know.
Well, one of my last questions I have for you, you know, I always like to talk about, you know, with my podcast being For America, William Wallace For America, and I always like to ask people what unites us.
Yeah.
And you know, and when and I always feel the best way to solve the problems of our country is to start in our own communities.
Exactly.
And start improving our states. But when we work in our communities, you know, I think that's where you have the most impact. So when you reflect on community and our country, what unites us as Americans and citizens in our communities?
Well, again, you know, just having connections and working together, and belonging to America. You know, I mean, just belonging to all the communities and just seeing people who has their own crisis all over. But what brings us together is, like I said, it's, you know, the American flag. It's just, you know, just living in this, we're the greatest country in the world, and we just want to save what we have. You know, I mean, it's just all alone. Talking with mayors from all over the coast, I know them all.
Right.
You know, and they stick together. They call me constantly every day. They say, "You fight. When you gonna give up?" I'm not. It's just, you know, I ain't going nowhere. So we gotta save our little community. I know where everybody lives, but what unites us together is knowing that, like I said, I'm on the front line.
You are in the front line.
And like I said, I'm not gonna give up. I'm not, you know, I'm just gonna make sure that that, you know, I'm gonna save my community, and I'm gonna protect my people. And if you look real quick, you got 7,000 to 8,000 people coming to watch the birds. We got a bird festival. We know where the green vegetation's at.
Oh, right there.
That's right behind here.
Oh, wow.
And
I'm gonna get a picture of that when I leave.
so what I'm saying is, it's right down the street. You see right down the street. The bird people come from all over the world. The birds come in March. They come in. We got a bird festival that comes in. They come from Canada. They come from all over the world, and they go down the main drag right here. They bird watch, and the birds are tired. They coming in, flying with a full moon.
Yeah.
And they coming in, Exxon, all the rigs, they were putting bird feeders out there. They couldn't go to them. They knew what time to fly. They come in, and they fall on the ground, most of them. And they get up, hummingbirds, and we feed them. And it was amazing. And, you know, and just, this is the first place across the Gulf of Mexico. And they come to this island, and this is where we keep green. And it's amazing, you know. People look at us, and I remember, you know, the birds came in, and we live here, and you know, we never heard about the birds. It was colorful. But I remember going watching. We had the white hats and the goggles, and old lady called the city hall and said, "They got some crazy people out there. They're looking at my trees." You know? So by having the bird people, and they really love the island, and they come to spend money, and then, you know, they got the painted bunting. That's the bird. It's colorful, it's like a rainbow. It's got the blue, the yellow, and the pink. And the Cajuns over here, Mr. Bobby Sandy used to call it, "Oh my God." When you see it in the trees, on a branch, it's like the first thing come to your mind is, "Oh my God." And he's been dead a while, but I remember that he put a sheet of plywood with some feed, and he said, "David, I was raised here," and they made a sanctuary around my house because the birds are just nesting in them trees. So we got big bird watchers that come in March, and there was a storm. There was a lot of trash, but there's still some of them that came through. And like I said, we get better every day, and just enjoy nature. You know, you catching oysters. You can go get some oysters. You get shrimp, crabs, fish, and enjoy the beach. And like I said, my grandpa used to hold my hand one time, and he said, and I tell this story once in a while. He was with my grandpa, and I holding hands. I was a little boy, and he said, "T. Dave, there's two things you can catch." He said, "One day we're gonna probably catch some kind of virus, some kind of flu, but we live on a coast. The wind's blowing out the south. There's nothing out there. By the time you come from the islands, the water, the air, and the water is purified." And he said, "But there's two things you can catch." He said, "There's this." He looked at me. He goes, "You can catch a sunburn." And I'm still waiting for that mermaid. My grandma slapped.
You still waiting for that what?
Yeah, still waiting for that mermaid on the beach. And I want the people to understand that I taught about him when the virus hit.
Yeah.
And here he is telling me that when I was a little boy. You know, he said, "You know, one day you're gonna have some sickness come true." But he said, "So far, you know, all you can catch right now is the sunburn and I'm hoping to catch a birdie.
A birdie.
So meeting that you can meet her, you know. And when I walk the beach during COVID, Memorial Weekend, now you take a young family right now that's when the COVID hit, and you live in a subdivision. I don't care if it's Thibodeau, Baton Rouge, Lafayette. You got to know.
Ruston, Monroe,
Right.
Norwood, yeah.
All over the states. Let's go to the coast and let's just get out the house. The kids are running me crazy.
Yeah.
You know, we're working and we're seeing too much each other. You know, we all did that.
Right.
But when the families came, and they came in golf carts, came down, and it was all together on the beach, and the wind was blowing out the south. And
That fresh air from the south.
And I tell you, tears of mine, I said, my grandpa couldn't read or write, but look at it. Look what he's telling me. And the virus came, and then everybody came, you know, to the island, and just to get that salt air. You know, it's like it's just things like that. Who would ever thought that? And I look at it that way, you know. So, like I said, we get winds from all over, but man.
I don't think it can be better said as a way to finish up our interview and let everybody know to come down here and get some of that clean air that's been purified with sun and salt coming out of the Gulf and everywhere else.
And then when we were young, you know, we had like boils on us, some sores, and Mama would bring us. She'd drive across the bridge, and we jump in the Gulf and soak us in the Gulf of Mexico to cure us. You know what I mean? That was a soak. That's what we did.
Yeah.
If you had a sore, Mama would take us across the bridge from the house, and we jump in the water. You know. And
I love it.
It's just my heart's in Grand Isle, my heart's in Louisiana, and I love tourism. I love people. You know, and I don't refuse whatever I can do to help. You know, I'll stop and help do what I got to do. You know, because it's just in my heart that you know, I've been over like to 10 terms, but I ain't going nowhere right now because I love seeing people and I love people coming in. You know,
I love it.
And I traveled the state and whatever problems when I was running for mayor at the time, is stopped out of a pickup truck in one of the towns, and grass was that high in the park, and didn't have the money to fix it. I said, ma'am, I'll get you a grant, but I wish I could bring my people every 6 months. I get wiped out. So it's just things like that that you think about, that people in other areas, you know, that asking for something. In the meantime, I'm thinking that, you know, Katrina was what 2005. Here we are.
Yeah.
So we kept our parks up and all that. And like the beach bash, we had the weather was getting bad. Here we go. There was disturbance building up.
Yep.
So we had to change off the beach, put it in the pavilion. So everything we do is probably 3 times before we get something done.
I love it.
But we resilient, and we know where we at. Working with my council, working with
And you're back, and you're going to come back stronger.
Yeah,
Mayor Camardelle, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I really appreciate your time.
Yes, I
and
appreciate you.
And everybody else,
Yes.
come on down the Grand Isle.
Yes, come on.
Spend some money and lower your insurance rates while you're at it. Make it some attention.
And like I said, it's going to be beautiful, and the weather's going to be nice. Looks like so far so good. Hopefully the storms don't come around us. And like I said, the beach is always going to be clean. We started off with rakes in 1989 on the Grand election, and dealing with the camp owners and summer people with rakes on the beach. Finally got some equipment, and now we're raking every day, and we got a clean beach, and we worked hard. And I don't want to thank everybody that came and helped us for the storm. There's many agencies and many people and friends like y'all that came and helped us, and it makes a difference in your life. You know, everybody together came and helped us what you need, and the people that came and brought food. You know, nothing else in the world. We had no food, and you came down and you come cook for us, and many of y'all out there. I can't thank y'all enough, because I know y'all love Grand Isle, but we want y'all to come back. And like I said, as long as there's one grain of land to fly the American flag, we're not going nowhere. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Y'all have a great day.